13 is the death rate for the average citizen of the province, but there seems to be no death rate for the old people. There were people at the commemoration banquet who could remember Cromwell. There were 6 of them. These old settlers had all been present at the original reading of the proclamation in 1836. They showed signs of the blightings and blastings of time in their outward aspect, but they were young within, young and cheerful and ready to talk and talk all you wanted, in their turn and out of it. They were down for 6 speeches, and they made 42. The governor and the cabinet and the mayor were down for 42 speeches, and they made 6. They have splendid grit, the old settlers, splendid staying power, but they do not hear well, and when they see the mayor going through motions which they recognize as the introducing of a speaker, they think they are the one, and they all get up together and begin to respond in the most animated way. And the more the mayor gesticulates and shouts, sit down, the more they take it for applause, and the more excited and reminiscent and enthusiastic they get. And next, when they see the whole house laughing and crying, 3 of them think it is about the bitter old-time hardships they are describing, and the other 3 think the laughter is caused by the jokes they have been uncorking, jokes of the vintage of 1836, and then the way they do go on. And finally, when ushers come and plead and beg, and gently and reverently crowd them down into their seats, they say, "Oh, I'm not tired. I could bang along a week." And they sit there looking simple and childlike and gentle and proud of their oratory, and wholly unconscious of what is going on at the other end of the room. And so one of the great dignitaries gets a chance, and begins his carefully prepared speech impressively and with solemnity. "When we, now great and prosperous and powerful, bow our heads in reverent wonder in the contemplation of those sublimities of energy, of wisdom, of forethought, of—" Up come the immortal 6 again in a body, with a joyous, "Hey, I've thought of another one!" And at it they go, with might and main, hearing not a whisper of the pandemonium that salutes them, but taking all the visible violences for applause as before, and hammering joyously away till the imploring ushers pray them into their seats again. And a pity, too, for those lovely old boys did so enjoy living their heroic youth over in these days of their honored antiquity, and certainly the things they had to tell were usually worth the telling and the hearing. It was a stirring spectacle, stirring in more ways than one, for it was amazingly funny, and at the same time deeply pathetic. For they had seen so much, these time-worn veterans, and had suffered so much, and had built so strongly and well, and laid the foundations of their commonwealth so deep in liberty and tolerance, and had lived to see the structure rise to such state and dignity, and hear themselves so praised for their honorable work. One of these old gentlemen told me some things of interest afterward, things about the aboriginals mainly. He thought them intelligent, remarkably so in some directions, and he said that along with their unpleasant qualities they had some exceedingly good ones, and he considered it a great pity that the race had died out. He instanced their invention of the boomerang and the weet-weet as evidences of their brightness, and as another evidence of it he said he had never seen a white man who had cleverness enough to learn to do the miracles with those 2 toys that the aboriginals achieved. He said that even the smartest whites had been obliged to confess that they could not learn the trick of the boomerang in perfection, that it had possibilities which they could not master. The white man could not control its motions, could not make it obey him, but the aboriginal could. He told me some wonderful things, some almost incredible things, which he had seen the blacks do with the boomerang and the weet-weet. They have been confirmed to me since by other early settlers and by trustworthy books. It is contended, and may be said to be conceded, that the boomerang was known to certain savage tribes in Europe in Roman times. In support of this, Virgil and 2 other Roman poets are quoted. It is also contended that it was known to the ancient Egyptians. One of 2 things is then apparent. Either someone with a boomerang arrived in Australia in the days of antiquity before European knowledge of the thing had been lost, or the Australian aboriginal reinvented it. It will take some time to find out which of these two propositions is the fact. But there is no hurry. End of chapter 19.